Good morning, everyone. Now we are trying to have discussions on IoT systems. Under that, logical design, taking the support of Python, how they have been operated, we are trying to have a watch now. Maybe till now, you would have been given some kind of inputs on what exactly is IoT, Internet of Things, and what are all the components that are essentially required to support that. Maybe all physical aspects that are all associated to that have been dealt already before starting this. All those topics have been covered, and some extensive discussion was also made on applications. So all the background informations that are all required prior to the logical design aspects have been covered. So here we are going to see the logical design aspects that are going to be managed using Python are going to be dealt. So this slide is going to give you an idea on the overall topics or the contents that are going to be covered under this logical design. So one way, it's actually the total inputs on Python or the total aspects that are all covered under Python programming rather. The basic idea on that which are all essentially required for us to take up to use all those informations for IoT. So under them, introduction to Python is the first content, then how to install Python, then Python data types and data structures, control flow, functions, modules, packages, file input and output, date and time operations and classes. So all these contents are going to give us a clarity on the contents that are all going to be covered under this logical design. So maybe the first few portions are going to give us the total inputs on the Python and how to install Python either in the laptops or in the desktops. Then what are all the data types that are all associated, along with that the data structures being made available in Python, and control flow. When you want to develop a approach, you essentially require some kind of control with the support of if statement or for statement or while statement. So these are the statements what we are going to use in order to control the flow of the program statements that are going to be executed in Python. Functions on par with the other functions which is available in the other languages. Even here it is actually going to give us a scope to handle the functions. We will see in detail about these things when we go further. And modular approach is actually the one which is actually giving us a total support on keeping a big program in a structured manner. Packages are all built-in packages, we call it, for different purposes. Python provides a scope for us to make use of different packages. Then how to handle the file input and output operations, like you might want to make some information to store in a file, and you might be aiming at accessing some information from a file. So some data, ready-made data, you might store it in a file and you might access it for further operation, for further analysis or further processing. Soon after that has been processed, sometimes we may get a result. Sometimes what we try to do is that result we try to see on the monitor in the display unit. In some other situations, when it is not possible for us to see the entire data on a single screen, maybe on the monitor, in order to have a comfortability for us, we will try to store that data again into a file. And in order to give you an idea on the expansibility or maybe the other extensions that are all possible in Python, date and time operations, say system date and system time, all those things also we can. At times, we will be essentially required to use the system date and time, like current date and time, because in IoT, Internet of Things, your actions are going to take into account even the date and time. Based on that, the actions and corrections are going to be. Then coming to the classes, though it appears as if a simple statement, for computer science people looking at this particular term itself, they'll be getting into a vast area called OOPS, object-oriented programming. So with all these kind of inputs, by now you would have got an idea that Python actually helps us in handling general languages, programming languages. In addition, object-oriented programming structure also, it is possible for us to handle. That is what we can understand from here. Then coming to the Python introduction, maybe a book whatever I have referred while collecting this particular content, the examples being quoted over there were actually run on Python 2.7, but what I did was all those examples I have converted them to 3.x version. On that all those programs have been run, and those executed, maybe those interpreted programs were only used for you to explain. Now if you consider at the introduction part of this, you can see a few statements. Python is a general purpose high level programming language. Wide varieties of applications are there that we'll see in the next slides. There should be some characteristics which are trying to categorize it under general purpose as well as high level programming language. Few have been listed over here. First and foremost thing over here is multi-paradigm programming language. Python supports more than one programming paradigm, including object-oriented and structured programming. So structured programming is one end, object-oriented programming is at the other end. Python is actually going to support both the styles of programming, structured as well as object-oriented. That is actually one first and foremost aspect, characteristic. Second one, interpreted language. This is an interpreted language and it does not require an explicit compilation step. At this end, you can realize that in C, if you want to run a program in C, you need to have a compiler, you need to have an interpreter. So two stages are there if you want to run a program if you have written in C. Whereas in Python, you don't straight away you are going to interpret. So interpreter itself is going to execute the source program directly. Okay, so rather than taking two steps in other languages, in Python it is going to take only one step to run the program. Okay, anyway, statement by statement, so that is going to run statement by statement as a processor or scripting engine does. Then the third characteristic is interactive language. Python provides an interactive manner it works, which means here the user can submit commands and the interpreter is going to have an interaction with the user, and the inputs whatever the user need to give, he will be in a position to give it. Of course, this is there in the other, this style is actually there even in the other programming, but there you need to compile and then execute next. Whereas here, direct interpretation. At the time of interpretation itself, you will get a scope to have interaction. Then coming to the key benefits of Python, it is very easy to learn, read and maintain. So while you are reading the code being written by someone else, it is very easy. Even to learn, it is very easy, because English like keywords and statements are there. Because of that, reading is easy, understanding is easy. Once you are able to read and understand, the next target is actually to maintain. Maintaining in the sense, there would be some code which would have got developed by some user and it would have come onto you as a part of project. You need to understand that on what grounds that program was written, by someone else, and you need to do the modifications what are all demanded by the maybe the project fellow. Since the Python is actually it is very easy to read and understand, it is now very easy for us to maintain. So the basic idea, rather why it is actually easy to read and learn as well as to maintain. The idea is the number of keywords that are available in Python are very few, unlike other languages, and even those keywords are actually like English words and has fewer syntactical constructions. See, if you try to compare this particular structure with C programming, so the syntactical constructions, whatever you try to refer, they are all bearable minimum over here. Even reading is so easy. The basic reason is it is something like in other languages, the way in which you try to develop pseudocode. So some structure, something similar to that is going to be there for Python. That's the reason why it is easy to read. It is even easy to learn, but that doesn't mean that it is not powerful. It is very powerful as well. It has got wide variety of applications. Okay, so due to its simplicity and maintaining these programs is easy. So all these things actually, all these features have actually made this particular program easy to learn as well as to read as well as to maintain. So let us see the other aspect. Second key benefit is actually object and procedure oriented. Python supports both procedure oriented programming and object oriented programming. Okay, so these two paradigms have been supported in Python, which means in C, if you try to consider, you may have a scope to write programs only in structured manner or procedure oriented manner. Whereas if you want to develop a code in using OOPS concept, you'll have to get into C++. Whereas here Python supports both the styles. You don't have to look for some other platform. And the program whatever you are trying to write, it is going to be written around the procedures or the functions. That is going to allow to reuse the code. Procedure oriented programming allows programs to be written around the objects that include both the data and functions. Next key benefit is extendable. Python is an extendable language and allows integration of low-level modules written languages such as C, C++. This is useful when you want to speed up a critical portion of a program. See, there is a scope for us to integrate the programs being written in C and C++. A program which was already developed in this will be able to use it in Python. Then scalable. Due to the minimalistic nature of Python, it provides a manageable structure of large programs. It is something like when you have a big program running for thousands of lines, you are going to subdivide that entire thing into a rather manageable structures. Maybe that out of the total program, you are going to have, you will be having a few part of program is going to do some purpose, the other portion of the program is going to do some purpose. So depending upon the purpose that is going to be served by the part of the program, you will be able to restructure that entire program, so that since you are able to restructure based on its purpose of the portion of the program, it will be very easy for us to understand. Tomorrow, maybe on some other day, when you need to do some modifications, since you have a total idea on the structure, you are going to identify the portion where exactly you need to take up modification, and you are going to focus only on that particular portion, so that we don't have to bother about the remaining part of the program. Then the next one is actually portable. Since Python is an interpreted language, programmers do not have to worry about compilation linking, and leading of programs. Python programs can be directly executed from source code and copied from one machine to the other without worrying about portability. See, it is something like portability is actually a major problem associated with the program developers. Maybe the program developer would have developed on one machine satisfying certain formalities. If you want to transport that, you need to have certain suitable what do you call converters, code converters. Only then you will be able to. That too, during that particular conversion process, total program is not going to convert. 100% conversion might not happen. Even 0.1% reduction in the conversion is going to leads to failure in the running. Such problems are not associated with the Python. Okay. Python interpreter itself converts the source code to an intermediate form called the bytecodes and then translates that information into the native language of your specific system and then runs it. Okay, these are the sequential stages that are all associated to that. Then coming to the other parts of key benefits, broad library support. Python has a broad library support and works on various platforms such as Windows, Linux, Mac, etc. So, whatever the platform you would like to, Python works on. In addition, there are large number of packages available for various applications such as machine learning, image processing, network programming, cryptography, etc. So usually we will not find a separate module or a separate package for the advanced areas. The areas what are all being listed out over here are machine learning, image processing, network programming, cryptography. These are all the new areas. Even on those new areas, software developers have already developed the packages and that have been made available. From the user point of view, you should know what are all the features that are all that have been made available in the packages, and you should have an idea, perfect idea on the machine learning, image processing areas. Once you have that, once you are convergent with the kinds of modules that are available in the name of packages, then you don't have to develop. That itself is going to take care of many aspects. So that for your application, developing a code in Python with the support of packages, it will become very easy for us. Then how would you install this particular Python? There are two styles. One is you need to go to this particular website called www.python.org, download Python for Windows. Go there. You can, after downloading that, you need to download based on your system requirements. Like your system might be operating with 62-bit processor or 32-bit processor. While you're downloading, you should take care of that. The file what I could download was 32-bit and the version is actually 3.955 that was executed, and for few examples I have used that. Then in order to access that, you need to type py in the search so that you will be able to get into that particular app, and whatever the program you want to execute, you can key in there and you can run. Alternately, you can install Anaconda and you can also use Jupyter Notebook that works on Anaconda. So there you can key in a portion of a program and you can interpret the results against the program you have written, and with that you will be able to. So in my examples, what I did was, for some portion of examples, I have used 3.9.5 32-bit, and for some other examples, I have used Jupyter Notebook that works on Anaconda. Now let us see this. Python is actually a programming language, no doubt in that. It has been created in 1991 by Udo van Rossum. He is the man who has invented this. It is a cross-platform. We have seen even in the earlier statements. You can run on Windows, you can run on Apple, you can run on Mac, and this is actually freely available even for commercial applications. Generally, some limited modules, any software will be freely available, whereas this one, even for commercial versions, it has been made available for free of cost. Then some statements which we have seen, same things have been repeated. Something like a recon. Python is easy to use, yet powerful and versatile, high level and object oriented programming language. In order to give you an idea on the syntax, a simple program what has been written in Java in order to print hello world have been showed with all syntax formalities. Whereas in Python, you can do the same task in a single statement. Whereas here, 1, 2, 3 statements. See the formalities. There is a semicolon. There are so many flower brackets. All such formalities are not there. Python is an interpreted scripting language also. To automate certain tasks in a program, we can use this. Extracting information from a data set, it is again possible. Less code intensive as compared to the traditional programming languages. The code size you can see here. This is a traditional language, a sort of thing, an example. Whereas in Python, the code intensity, maybe the size of the code has gone down. Then powerful. See the users. Google people, Facebook, Netflix, Spotify, Philips, Dropbox, all these people have started using it. Okay. Then versatile. See the applications, requirements. For NLP, you are trying to use for data representation, visualization that has been used. For game developments, it has been, and for image processing, whatnot. Or not all the applications were not listed, but this is going to give you an idea that what irrespective of the type of application is quite possible for us to use Python. Anyway, this is again the same slide have been reckoned over here, and that has been made it available again as a recon. But some additional statement is also there over here. Python syntax and dynamic typing with its interpreted nature makes it an ideal language for scripting and rapid application development. Coming to the Python data types and data structures, I am trying to introduce you with numbers. Number data type is used to store numeric values. Numbers are immutable data types, not changeable. Therefore, changing the value of a number data type results in a newly allocated object. Maybe to give you an idea on the variables and data types that are all we are trying to use it in Python or other languages. One author have tried to put it on the represent that the information like this. In real life, how they are all. See, these are all the jars being put in use in a kitchen. You can see one item have been made stored in one particular glass jar. Likewise, item by item, you are going to segregate them in a separate jar, and based on the volume you try to use, even the volume of jar is going to be. Okay, so in real life, this is what is actually the data. Maybe to give you few data types, you are having over here integer, float type, boolean type, string type, list type, and few more. There are few more, so some out of them we are going to come across, like dictionary type, list type, those things also we will see. In integer you can see negative value to the positive and even higher value. There is no need like C over here, long int, long float, all those declarations are not essentially required here. So means data type declarations, that too we are not going to declare. We will see in a simple program. So this is actually an example for integer type. This is an example for float. Even that, if you see, this is going to give you an idea on the range, and here it has been depicted with 5 decimal places. There can be many more. Still the declaration is going to be float only. Remember, we are not going to make any declarations. We are going to assign value to a variable. Depending upon the type of value you are trying to find, that variable is going to be assigned automatically, that with the type of variable. Then Boolean type is going to carry either true or false. String type, whatever you are going to quote within the double quotes, is going to be referred like that automatically. List type, you can see within the square brackets, and all the elements have been separated by commas, and many more are again available.